For stopping by, and if you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe because I'm currently campaigning to be able to make fucking poll posts on this platform, and I need your help to do it. When Qrow was introduced in Volume 3, I'll happily admit that his character was hands down one of my favorites. Par for course, almost every anime needs that drunk, down on their luck uncle character, and Qrow fits the bill to a T. However, the most interesting thing about his character has to be his semblance, which I've decided to dub Bad Luck Charm, just to go with his theme song and his own branding of the ability. During the events of Volume 4, we learn what Qrow's ability is after Ruby questions him as to why he didn't travel with them and help them along the way, as it was previously revealed to the audience that Qrow was in fact with them the entire time, opting not to interfere and instead kill the legions of Grimm that were swarming to fight them. Finally, he explains why he kept his distance was due to his semblance. He self-describes it as follows: "Some people can absorb electricity, some people can burst into rose petals, some people are just born unlucky. My semblance isn't like most, it's not exactly something I do. It's always there, whether I like it or not, I bring misfortune." Pretty self-explanatory. So we learned why Qrow is always by himself and why he prefers to stay away from people in general. He claims that the ability is handy in fights to help him against enemies, but not so helpful for his friends or family, as it becomes just an inconvenience or, in some cases, extremely dangerous for them. Qrow's ability manipulates probability in a manner that is almost always negative, or at least seems negative. The degree of severity is seemingly random as well. It can range from dropping a glass to dropping a wooden beam on someone. However, there is never really an indication of Qrow receiving the blunt of this effect. Rather, it appears that any unfortunate event that would occur to Qrow has little effect, or no effect at all. A fine example of this is Qrow versus Tyrion. Every unfortunate circumstance that occurs happens to everyone except Qrow. Every now and then during the fight, Qrow's semblance gives him a slight edge in the form of a mild inconvenience towards Tyrion. In fact, to some degree, it appears that Qrow's semblance often spares him negative outcomes. When Ruby interferes and is affected by Qrow's semblance, it shows lethality for the first time in the fight and threatens to crush her with a loose log. He interferes, and seemingly as a result of meddling with fate, Qrow is struck by Tyrion's stinger and fatally poisoned. If Qrow's semblance did have an effect on himself, the wound would have been certain death. However, despite days untreated, Qrow manages to survive. I feel this is evidence enough that Qrow's semblance does not actually have a downside towards himself, but rather everything else around him. And occasionally, things that happen are simply out of control. It has also been noted that Qrow's semblance can be amplified, at which point he begins to use aura. However, it was never specified if the effects are what is amplified or simply the range of influence. In almost every other instance, Qrow's semblance is considered a bad omen. Wherever he goes, something terrible is bound to happen. If you want an example of this, ever since Qrow showed up in the series, it has been going downhill. After looking into his semblance for a bit and rewatching all of the little bits and pieces, I've come to one conclusion about Qrow. He more than likely caused the death of Summer Rose, simply due to Tai Yang's reaction to Qrow all the time, despite Qrow having saved his daughters from certain death on more than one occasion. The only plausible reasoning would be that during her final mission, she was with Qrow, and Qrow came back alone. I'm going to explain why I can all my weird theories in another video, but for right now, whenever it comes to semblances, I'd have to say Qrow's is one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated. It's not elemental or physical, but something that affects the very laws of causality, which is honestly pretty cool to me. My theory about Qrow's semblance is that it does not only cause misfortune, but rather it gives Qrow himself good fortune. That's all I really got on that one, honestly. It just seems like Qrow gets lucky and everyone else gets unlucky, so maybe he's absorbing all of their luck, causing them bad luck, and giving himself good luck. Luck amplifier.